Hey, it's NPR's Book of the Day. I'm Andrew Limbong. And if you are a regular listener, you know we love Friday music pairings around here. So in a bit, the one and only Paul McCartney is on the pod. His new book is all about his post-Beatles band Wings. But first, if you are paying any attention right now to current day indie rock, you know that a lot of it is tinged with Americana, country, folk. This is not the first time that the punks have picked up the pedal steel. There was a wave of alt-country music back in the 90s, particularly out of Chicago, and much of it coming out of one indie label, Bloodshot Records. Rob Miller is a co-founder of the label, and his new book is about the music scene he helped cultivate. It's called The Hours Are Long, but the Pay is Low. He talks to NPR's Scott Simon about the book and whether labels are still necessary today. That's after the break.
This message comes from BetterHelp. The holidays are a time of traditions, like making your grandmother's pudding recipe or watching that movie you've seen 1,000 times. Incorporating therapy into your life can help you take time for yourself during what can be a joyful but sometimes tough time of year. And by caring for yourself, you can show up more for the important moments. This December, start a new tradition by taking care of you. Visit BetterHelp.com/NPR for 10% off.
This message is sponsored by DSW, the birthplace of the humble brag. Full of all kinds of shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. And when there are never-ending options for every style, mood, occasion, and budget, there is unlimited freedom to play. And that's something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW. Let them surprise you.
In the early 1990s, there was a new sound in music. Not quite country, not quite rock, not quite punk. It was dubbed alt country, or even the alternative, bubbling up alongside alternative rock and grunge. Rob Miller called it insurgent country, and in 1993 he co-founded Bloodshot Records, an independent label in Chicago. The label put out albums by the Old 97s, the Bottle Rockets, and many more. He's now written a memoir. The hours are long, but the pay is low. Rob Miller joins us from Chicago. Thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You grew up in Detroit in the 70s, and say in this book you went to Chicago to escape music. Didn't quite work out, did it?
No. In that I failed spectacularly.
Well, what happened?
I had been working in Detroit as a middling fanzine writer, and I'd also been doing a lot of stage production and production managing. And I just found myself being at shows 14, 16 hours a day, first one in, last one out kind of thing, day after day. And I kind of got burned out on music. And I was no longer hearing music. It was just something that was in the way as I did my job. And I thought I just was kind of done with music. And let's move to Chicago, like so many other people from Detroit were doing at the time.
What did you happen upon? What did you discover in Chicago at that time?
It was a place where people in the creative fields, writers, theater people, woodworkers, musicians, people who wanted to start labels, it was a very wide open town and with a very low bar for entry. And you could screw things up. You could fail and just try again. There was no sense of this is my shot, because Chicago was not in the spotlight that, say, New York or L.A. or Nashville were in terms of music. You could just kind of try things out.
So Bloodshot Records was, if I might put it this way, conceived on a bar napkin?
You may, yes. A couple of friends of mine and I, we were sitting in one of our favorite bars, and we just made up a list of names of bands that were kind of playing around with roots music tropes, and that were being completely ignored by the music press that was happening at the time, that were falling over themselves with Liz Phair and the Smashing Pumpkins and Urge Overkill, and Chicago's kind of being portrayed as the next Seattle. But all these roots bands were kind of percolating beneath the surface of this underground scene, the underground of the underground. we just thought it was a shame and that we should just put together a compilation album and see what happens.
Let me ask you about some artists and their releases. For example, 1997, Straight Outta Boone County.
Well, that was one where we had modern artists or artists in our circle do covers of songs from a label called King Records and a radio show called Boone County out of southern Ohio in the 1950s. Hugely influential, but also has kind of been forgotten.
Well, there's an evening train coming and I'm gonna be on it. I've been playing second fiddle to my girl and I'm gonna go home. Well, I'm really homesick and I'm tired of the big, big city. I'm gonna hop that train and tell the engineer to get with it.
And so we had these people cover songs from that catalog, and they did it through their own lens in a way that was just vastly different from what it was originally done, but still in the same spirit of innovation and kind of an outsider mentality to it. And yeah, a lot of people loved it, but a lot of people, who were arbiters of country authenticity hated it.
And let me ask you about Justin Townes Earle.
Good, I'm going uptown to the Harlem River to drown.
The son of Steve Earle, the great country music artist. Named after Townes Van Zandt. The kid didn't have a chance.
Gotta get there while I still can. Troubled days are behind me now, and I know they're gonna let me in.
Justin was somebody who stayed at my house once, and I didn't know who he was. I mean, I knew who he was, but I didn't know his music. I knew who his dad was. And he played at a house concert in the North Shore of Chicago, and I went to it. And within the second song, by the second song, I knew I had to work with him. He just commanded that little makeshift stage in this house and had an intensity to him that it was a thunderclap moment for me.
Friends said your work was glamorous, was it?
If you consider 3 a.m. tacos and not sleeping and long drives to watch somebody play for 30 people and make no money and be the first one in the building and last one out, or of the office as well. It's not glamorous, but it was never boring and it was never the same. And it did have those moments of exaltation when it all went right.
Yeah. In your appendix, you have some tour manager's words of wisdom. May I ask you about a couple?
Sure.
Never give your duct tape to anyone.
Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, everyone wants duct tape, and they take it, and then they never come back with it, and then the next day you're looking for your duct tape, and it's gone.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And you advise never leave behind any food.
You're not hungry now, but in that dead zone between Columbus, Ohio, and Louisville, Kentucky, at 4:30 in the morning, whatever was left behind will seem like a steak to you.
I got to ask you, you walked away from Bloodshot in October 2021, and there was a lot of controversy surrounding the label. There were allegations that some artists were owed thousands of dollars in royalties. How do you respond?
That I put my full faith and trust in a business partner who did not deserve it. For better and for worse, our responsibilities were incredibly siloed, and I just thought that we shared a conviction to make sure we were doing things above board, and apparently we did not. I will say that I made sure, to the best of my abilities, that people were paid what they were owed. We spent a lot of time and accounting money to make sure, myself and the staff, to make sure that people were paid what they were owed.
Is there still a need and a place for independent labels in a time when, someone can sing a few lines into their iPhone and put it online and millions of people can hear it?
I think absolutely there is, because artists are by nature, let us just say that they do not have the logistical grace to carry off all the things that need to happen to make your music rise above the din of all these other people putting out music. So if label is maybe an antiquated term, then at least a team. You need a team behind you to help people find out what is so special about your music. We're all in it together, so no one can do this by themselves.
Rob Miller, co-founder of Bloodshot Records, his new book is The Hours Are Long, but the Pay is Low. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
This message comes from Jerry. Are you tired of your car insurance rate going up, even with a clean driving record? That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/NPR today.
I don't know if I really need to do a setup here, right? It's NPR's A. Martínez talking to Paul McCartney about his band Wings. You know who Paul McCartney is, don't you? Here's A.
In 1970, the Beatles broke up. Paul McCartney and his family left the chaos of Abbey Road for a quieter life on a farm in Scotland. But soon the itch came back. He wanted to get back to writing silly love songs.
And what's wrong with that? I'd like to know. 'Cause here I go again.
Paul McCartney's new band was called Wings, and they became one of the biggest hit makers of the 1970s. McCartney chatted with us about his new book, Wings, the story of a band on the run. And we started where the Beatles ended.
I didn't really see it coming. The sort of giveaway was that we weren't spending a lot of time with each other. Once we started to, get girlfriends and wives, once John, for instance, hooked up with Yoko, that was, telling. I could see that he now wanted to go in another direction. And I just hooked up with Linda. I didn't need to go in another direction. We could have just continued as we were. But things were changing. But at the time, it was quite a shock.
Yeah, it sounds like you were willing to, keep giving this a try, it sounded like.
Yeah, sure. With the Beatles, it would have been great. I was trying to encourage us to sort of go back and sort of start from square one. But in actual fact, I did that with Wings. It was kind of a strange move, really. But the alternative was to have a big, what they would call the supergroup. Looking back on it now and reading the Wings book, it was like, my God, I'm a maniac. I am a total maniac.
I can almost remember the bloody faces. That time you told him that you were gonna be marrying soon. And yet, I thought the only lonely place was on the moon.
Tell me, though, post-Beatles, now you're on your farm, your sheep farm in Scotland. You're with Linda, the kids. Where were you creatively at that point?
I was in a simpler frame of mind, and I think I was in a freer state of mind. I remember thinking, when I was with the Beatles, we had our office in London, and at Christmas time, someone would buy me a Christmas tree. And then when I was up in Scotland, I thought, this is great. No one's going to buy me a Christmas tree. I've got to go and get my own. Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Felt like total freedom. It was like, this is great. I love this.
So it sounds like the juices started to flow, for sure.
Yeah, it really was like a rebirth. And then the craziest thing was my lovely wife, Linda. We would sing around the house, and I always remember thinking, wow, she's really got something. But she's completely inexperienced.
Did you have to pitch her to be in the band, or did she want to be?
No, she was very cute. She could tell I wanted to put a band together. I said, do you want to be in it? She sort of said, yeah.
When you were young and your heart was an open book, you used to say, live and let live. You know you did, you know you did, you know you did. But if this ever-changing world in which we live in makes you give in and cry, say live and let die.
We had a lot of fun. It was crazy. There were certainly moments that were fraught with danger and nervousness.
Oh, like what? Like what moments? Please tell me.
Oh, my God. We were playing crazy little gigs. I had a song that we used to do called Wildlife. The intro is on piano, so Linda had the intro. I used to say, we'd like to do a song now called Wildlife. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Nothing. And I look over at Linda, and she's looking kind of, perplexed. Oh, hell, how does this go? So I think, oh, okay, I'll show her. So I walk over, and I go, okay, and I've forgotten it. So we're bloody hell, the two of us. Well, luckily, the audience thought this was like a sort of gag. Was this rehearsed? And then suddenly it clicked in, and Linda remembered it, and she started it, and we did the song.
When Wings, was touring British universities, playing covers, playing Wings songs, but no Beatles songs. I mean, it sounded like in the book that you really kind of rejected any of the doors that would open by you being a Beatle.
Well, at the time, I thought, I'm trying to make a new band here. I'm trying to do this new thing. And promoters would say, would you please do Yesterday? And we said, no, we're not doing it. We did it that way in order to build a Wings repertoire.
Yeah.
Once that happened, I was around about 76 when we had the record Band on the Run. Suddenly now we had songs that the audience would recognize that were our songs, the Wings songs. So then I felt easier about, here's a Beatles song. So now I interspersed them. But I felt I had to establish the identity of Wings first.
If I ever get out of here, thought of giving it all away to a registered charity. All I need is a pint today. If I ever get out of here.
That's Sir Paul McCartney. His new book is Wings, the Story of a Band on the Run. Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been fun. And listen, NPR is great and must always survive and educate us all in the ways of life.
Perfect way to end it.
Well, the rain exploded with a mighty crash as we fell into the sun.
And that's it for NPR's Book of the Day. If you want more, you can sign up for our newsletter at npr.org/newsletter/books. I'm Andrew Limbong. The podcast is produced by Chloe Weiner and edited by Megan Sullivan with help from Ivy Buck. Our founding editor is Petra Mayer. The show elements for this week were produced and edited by Jordan Marie Smith, Sarah Handel, Natalie Winston, Adriana Gallardo, Barry Gordimer, Martin Patience, Ed McNulty, Samantha Balaban, Shannon Rhodes, Phil Harrell, Dave Mistich, and Jacob Fenston. Yolanda Sanguini is our executive producer. Thanks for listening.
This message comes from Greenlight. Parents say financial literacy is the hardest life skill to teach. Greenlight's debit card and money app for families makes it easy for kids to learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. Start today, risk-free at greenlight.com/NPR. This message comes from Schwab. At Schwab, how you invest is your choice, not theirs. That's why when it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices. You can invest and trade on your own. Plus, get advice and more comprehensive wealth solutions to help meet your unique needs. With award-winning service, low costs, and transparent advice, you can manage your wealth your way at Schwab. Visit schwab.com to learn more. This message comes from Solidigm. Yesterday's approach to storage can't meet the demands of today's AI ambitions. Bigger, faster, and more energy efficient, Solidigm solid-state storage solutions are optimized for AI. Learn more at storageforai.com.